Hello my viewers and welcome back to my channel. Welcome to a critical examination of a statement made by a palm color woman in Hollywood, claiming that it's hard to be a palm color woman in the industry and expressing a desire to be African American. Yeah, I had to pause. Do you know why? Because according to her, she feels this is going to avoid her getting backlash for speaking out. In short, she means African Americans don't get backlash for speaking out. Now, in this video, we take a look into the problematic nature of this assertion and explore the inherent privilege and ignorance underlying such sentiments. While acknowledging the challenges faced by women in Hollywood, it's important to confront the flawed assumptions that being African American somehow shields individuals from criticism or oppression. Furthermore, the notion that feminism is universally hated reveals a profound misunderstanding of the feminist movement and its goals. So join me as we dissect the complexities of race, gender, and privilege, challenging misconceptions and amplifying marginalized voices in the pursuit of greater understanding and social justice. Check out these videos.
It's hard being a white woman in Hollywood.
Nothing worse than being a woman in this business. I sometimes wish I was African American, because I think at least people don't bash them afterwards when they say something about a reality, which is very hard for a woman to open it. I think even hard. I think it's probably the hardest to be a woman because feminists is probably something that people hate above all.
For Black women in the entertainment industry, there's not only misogyny to deal with, but there's also racism, anti-Blackness. Black women going into the entertainment industry or media in any capacity are entering a white-dominated field, just like every other institution in America and like society herself, functioning within a hierarchy. White men at the top and following closely on their heels, white women. Black women are not anywhere near the top of that ladder. Anytime a role is given to a Black woman and that role happens to be the lead, there is constant bashing of the actress and the studio who allowed it to happen. Hateful and racist book-faced groups start popping up left and right. Anti-Black memes flood the internet, all because the role casted a Black woman. Black women so many times arrive on set only to have nobody present who knows how to do their hair or makeup. So many times Black women get stuck with wigs or straight hair or a foundation that has them casket ready. Or sis ends up having to do her own hair, her own makeup with her own tools that she brought from home because the industry has always centered and catered to white women. Then there's the pay gap. Black women whose talent surpasses that of the most praised and celebrated mediocre white women do not get the same pay, the same recognition, or the same respect. Black women are still only making a fraction of what their white counterparts make. And Black women have been vocal about these issues for years. And shit still ain't changed. This is why many Black women want no parts of feminism. Because when led by white women, Black women get left out. Black women continue to be an afterthought. Black women are still the most unprotected and disrespected demographic. And yet white women continue to center their own voices, their own feelings, their own issues in discussions about equality. White women continuously disregard intersectionality when it comes to Black women and Black queer women. White women still invoke the power of their tears to gather sympathy, change, and action for themselves. Everybody else gets left behind. And when these white women speak, these white men sit silently, although visibly embarrassed for this woman. They let her continue speaking nonsense. Her foolery went unchecked. Nobody stopped her or made any attempt to correct her. This is the issue. These white women want to fight the patriarchy while simultaneously snuggling up to it to be coddled and affirmed in their feelings while their backs are turned to us until it's time again when they need our voices and our help, using our voices to their advantage. It is not enough to say, well, I'm not like that. I don't think that way. Correct your fellow white people. Call them out on their nonsense. Educate them and bring them out of their ignorance. Because staying silent and expecting Black people to educate your fellow white people, expecting free labor from us instead of white people having to do the hard work, is aiding in the continuation of white supremacy. Do better, white people.
The teaser trailer was released for this movie about a year ago on YouTube. YouTube had to disable the comments. They had to turn the comments off completely. because that many people were being disgustingly and blatantly racist in the comments. That doesn't happen very often, just so you know. YouTube doesn't do that very often. They don't just go around turning off the comments on very many videos. That's rare. That's a very rare occurrence. Even the like to dislike ratio was absolutely insane at one point. The likes were at about 300,000, while the dislikes were at 2.7 million. All because a black woman happens to be playing the new Little Mermaid. Keep in mind, this was just the teaser trailer. The movie hadn't even been released yet. The official trailer hadn't come out yet. This was the teaser trailer. Think about that for a second. Really let that sink in. Look, man, I'm gonna need two things from white women within the entertainment industry, or really just white women in general. Number one, I'm gonna need y'all to get a fucking grip. Okay? And get a tight grip on reality. Because the only way that you say some stupid shit like that woman just said on camera is if you're living in a different reality than the rest of us. Okay? That's the only explanation. And number two, I'm gonna need y'all to learn what the word intersectionality means. All right? Look it up. Google is free. Learn the definition. Read it multiple times if you need to. Internalize that shit. Because there are too many of y'all who still don't get it.
And this is why I would never consider myself to be a feminist, because it does not include women who look like me. This woman sat up there and compared her plight to black people, which was already egregious, right? Let's say that no African American women exist. In a country where black people have been lynched, have been enslaved, have to overcome all adversity in order to partake in that industry, you want to compare your plight to theirs. It's ridiculous. But African American women do in fact exist. So why are you acting like or talking like they don't? And this is why I don't believe in that woman solidarity thing that we're talking about. This is why that man was going around New York City punching black women in the face, identified by a black woman and not arrested. And it wasn't until 4 white women were punched in the face that he was arrested within hours. And I'm not saying it was even just the cops. I'm saying it's people, black women, Hispanic women, white women, everyone coming together when white women are being harmed. But if something is happening to black women, everyone is hush mouth. That's why those 2 twins got stabbed and it's not as viral as people getting punched in the face. That's why, because the love, the solidarity that we have for them, just know it's non-reciprocal. And I'm not saying we shouldn't have empathy for all people, because I have empathy for everybody under the earth. But what I am saying is, when we're engaging in those empathetic acts, just know we're engaging in a non-reciprocal relationship, because they don't see it for us.
So what just happened in that video, what Julie Delpy just said, is the dangers of white feminism 101, right? It is a lot of white women not understanding that, yes, you can be oppressed in your womanhood, but it doesn't mean that you are not also an oppressor in your whiteness, right? You have a shield, but you also have a sword. For starters, if it wasn't that bad being black, you wouldn't have used it as a parallel or an example of, oh, I would even be black, right? You wouldn't have done that if it wasn't just so hard being black. Also, it's funny how whenever white women say things like this, they erase the fact that black women exist, right? People existing at the intersection of womanhood and blackness. So just being a woman by itself as a white woman can't be the hardest thing if there are women who are also black. There are also women who are black and women and trans. But again, this is the danger once again of white women not seeing in mainstream white feminism how dangerous they can be, how dangerous their mindset that they are the most oppressed creature on the planet can be, when in reality, if they had just a slight sense of intersectionality, a slight sense of intersectional feminism, womanism, so on and so forth, it could be a game changer. But yeah.
Okay, Julie, imagine you become African American, and guess what? You're still a woman. So I'm confused as to where she was going with that. I'm confused as to why she even thought this made any sense. I'm trying to process where exactly does she not view black women as women? Like, does she think that because they're black, they don't have to deal with the issues that come with being a woman? I'm confused as to where this was making sense for her, because black women are dealing with the same thing, and they're dealing with racism. And I also don't understand why she would say, I want to be African American, because at least when they point something out in the industry, they don't get the pushback that women do. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. I don't know what rock she lives under, but ma'am, what are you talking about? And then going on to be like, oh, I think feminism is like the most hated thing it's just the most hated thing, and blah, 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 blah. I want you to remember that in this country, because we're talking about Hollywood, white women had rights before any black people had rights. White women had more rights than black men had rights. So I agree that there's gender wars and gender inequality and all of that. But I think a lot of white women like to try and put the gender inequality over the race inequality. And it don't work that way, because for one, you have women who fall under both. Like, you have women that fall under both, and two, it's not worse when you're talking for white women, because it's always white women that do this. And I think it's just y'all just want to be in the, you want to be just as oppressed as everybody else. You want to be in with everybody else, and you also want to other yourself from the racism of white people. Like, you don't want people to see white women as, oh, they were just so racist to us and da 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 da. You want that to just be white men's thing, and it's not. Y'all was in the KKK too. I'm not. So I don't know where she was going with this, and you could tell that the two guys with her were like, I can't believe you're even saying this. Like, the guy next to her looked like he was just done with her. He was just like, oh my god, this is going to go viral. We're never going to hear the end of this. You just ruined whatever we were doing, and now all people are going to talk about is this instead of the important stuff. Thanks a lot. I just don't understand where she was going with that. Like, I just don't get it. And also, why is it always us? Why is it always us? Why couldn't you just say, sometimes I wish I was a man, or like, sometimes I wish I was a Latina? Like, why is it always black people? You always come from, why are we always in it? What do I gotta do with it? Why? I don't understand that. It's never, sometimes I wish I was Asian because they don't have to do with X, Y, Z. Or, oh, sometimes I wish I was Latina because I don't have to do with X, Y, Z. Or, oh, I wish I was a man, that way I didn't have to do with X, Y, Z. It's always, I wish I was black. Or black people are so lucky because they don't have to deal with X, Y, Z. I don't understand.
Now, the statement made by this palm color woman in Hollywood offers a critical analysis of her assertions, while also shedding light on the challenges faced by black women in the entertainment industry. Firstly, let's acknowledge the inherent privilege and ignorance underlying the statement that it's hard to be a palm color woman in Hollywood. While women in the industry undoubtedly face discrimination and barriers to success, the intersection of race and gender magnifies the challenges experienced by Black women. From casting biases to limited opportunities for meaningful roles, Black women often encounter systemic barriers that compound the obstacles faced by palm color people. Now, the assertion that being African American somehow shields individuals from criticism or oppression is not only false, but also dismissive of the pervasive racism and discrimination experienced by Black people in all aspects of society, including the entertainment industry. Black women in Hollywood frequently confront racial stereotypes, microaggressions, and tokenism, making it exceptionally difficult to navigate and succeed in an industry dominated by palm color norms and standards. The suggestion that feminism is universally hated ignores the vital role of feminist activism in advocating for gender equality and social justice. While feminism may face backlash from those who resist change or cling to patriarchal ideologies, it remains a powerful force for challenging systemic oppression and advocating for the rights and dignity of all individuals, regardless of race or gender. The commentary on this statement highlights the need to confront and challenge misconceptions surrounding race, gender, and privilege in the entertainment industry. By amplifying the voices and experiences of Black women, I feel these people can work towards a more inclusive and equitable industry that values diversity and celebrates the contributions of all individuals, regardless of their background or identity. Black women in the entertainment industry often confront systemic racism that manifests in various forms, including casting biases, typecasting, and limited opportunities for advancement. The lack of representation both in front of and behind the camera perpetuates stereotypes and reinforces marginalization. Intersectionality, coined by legal scholar, highlights the interconnected nature of multiple forms of oppression. Black women face unique challenges that stem from the intersection of race, gender, and often class, making their experiences distinct from those of palm color women. This intersectionality compounds the barriers they face and further undermines their opportunities for success. Within the entertainment industry, colorism, discrimination based on skin tone, persists and affects Black women disproportionately. Lighter-skinned actresses are often favored over their darker-skinned counterparts, perpetuating harmful beauty standards and exacerbating divisions within the Black community. Despite the strides made towards diversity and inclusion in recent years, Black women continue to be underrepresented in mainstream media. The lack of diverse narratives and representations further marginalizes Black women's experiences and perpetuates harmful stereotypes. Black women in Hollywood also grapple with significant pay disparities compared to palm color counterparts. Studies have shown that Black actresses earn less than their palm color counterparts for similar roles, reflecting broader patterns of economic inequality within the industry. Despite these challenges, Black women in the entertainment industry have long been the forefront of advocacy and activism for social change. From demanding fair representation to challenging discriminatory practices, Black actresses and creators continue to push boundaries and break barriers in pursuit of greater equality and justice. Now, Black women often find themselves relegated to stereotypical roles that limit their range and depth as performers. From the sassy sidekick to the over-sexualized temptress, these narrow portrayals not only perpetuate harmful stereotypes, but also constrain opportunities for meaningful and nuanced representation. Black women behind the camera also face significant barriers to entry and advancement in the industry. Despite their talents and creativity, they encounter systemic biases that limit their access to key decision-making roles such as directors, producers, and writers. Now, this lack of representation behind the scenes perpetuates the cycle of underrepresentation and reinforces existing power imbalances. While diversity initiatives have become more prevalent in recent years, they often fall short of addressing the systemic issues that perpetuate inequality in the entertainment industry. Black women are sometimes tokenized or used as symbols of diversity without being afforded substantive opportunities for meaningful participation and leadership. The cumulative effects of artisanship, sexism, and discrimination take a toll on the mental health and well-being of Black women in the entertainment industry. From navigating microaggressions to facing overt acts of artisanship, Black women often endure significant emotional and psychological stress in pursuit of their careers. Despite these formidable challenges, Black women in the entertainment industry have a long history of activism and resistance. Through their creative work, advocacy efforts, and community organizing, they continue to push boundaries and challenge the status quo, paving the way for greater representation, inclusion, and equity. Building alliances and solidarity across intersecting axes of oppression is crucial in addressing the challenges faced by Black women in the entertainment industry. By amplifying their voices and supporting their leadership, allies can contribute to a more equitable and inclusive industry that celebrates the full spectrum of human diversity. We have come to the end of the video. Share your thoughts on what you think about this palm color lady's comment. Thank you for watching and see you in my next video.